Hello and welcome to the Unqualified Podcast with Leon Wilson. That's me. Thank you for stopping by. And on this Mother's Day, I have we had an incredible service this morning at church, and it was just mothers being celebrated, women being celebrated, and the ladies who came, every single one of them left with a flower, and there was a generous couple that just donated flowers, and they had cards from the kids and everything in our children's church, and it was just awesome. Today in the studio, I have my lovely wife. Hey, Ashley.
Hey, y'all.
So she's joined us today, and just having a conversation about ministry and about mothers in ministry and trying to mother in ministry, and we don't have any like preloaded questions or anything like that. I know that sometimes that's like a common thing is, hey, this is the question that's going to get us started. But I just wanted to have a conversation with you, baby, and just talk about ministry. And so I guess first things first is, do you think there's a difference in the household when the parents are in ministry? Do you think like that's or what kind of differences have you noticed where, because when like I started preaching and interim pastoring and things like that, do you feel like something had to change, or that it added some type of depth or volume or anything like that? Did it make things more difficult? Did you feel like, man, this is a whole nother, or has it just been seamless? Do you feel like it's just been chill?
Pretty chill for the most part, but I feel like we're definitely very busy, so we have to prioritize things more, and we have to make sure we're leaving time for each other, and then our immediate family, and then our church family. It's kind of hard to do all that sometimes, but I think we're doing pretty good.
Well, I know, like, when we first started, that was one of the things, and I'll just let the cat out of the bag a little bit here. I remember when we first started into ministry full time, when it was like, hey, we're going to yield, we're going to do it, and that we had some interesting conversations about it, in that, like, look, we need to guard our words and our actions. We need to pull a little bit closer. And I think in some cases we didn't even really talk about it. We just really pulled real close. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably something like, if I was to say, hey, young pastor's wife, here's the advice I have. Number one, keep a tight circle and let that circle be built by God, and don't try to build it yourself. Don't just, befriend everybody. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I think it's easy to get caught up in the drama and other people's drama and be sucked into that. And we can't do that, because we have to set ourselves to a higher standard. And I think that we've done pretty good with that.
We certainly try, don't we?
Yep.
Now, I think probably what some people might have a problem with is the whole hold yourself to a higher standard. And I agree 100%. And here's why. When you're in ministry, and I said this a podcast or three ago, go back and look at it if you haven't seen it, but there is a target on your back.
Yeah.
And in some cases, that target is from the brethren, people that you trust, people that you love, and they're kind of waiting with bated breath to watch you fail. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely here in the South, especially, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're nosy.
Amen. Amen. But it's true, though. And I mean, you look no further than like TV preachers, you know, and and stuff like that. It becomes like talk of the town, and you know, it makes the news and all this other when they fail. And
Yeah, they're not going to remember everything, the 1,000 things you done right. They're going to remember you by that one thing that you failed at, or that moment of weakness. That's what you're remembered by.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's sad. That's sad.
Yep.
Now, when we, you know, and that's what we mean by hold yourself to a higher standard. And I say it behind the pulpit a lot. I say, guard your words and your actions. You got to make a conscious effort to try to set the right, make the right choices and do the right things and say the right things and be an example unto somebody. Because really, that's the largest part of your testimony isn't what you say, it's what you do.
Yep.
And so when it comes to family, like, how do you feel like mothering has been, you know, when it comes to like family while you've been in ministry? Has there been like a difference to you, or you feel like there's...
I feel like I'm more serious minded about it. Like if I see the kids doing or slipping, then I'm more quick to say, or maybe not say, but pray, than I was before.
Right. I think we should make a shirt that says, be quicker to pray than you are to say.
Yeah.
That'd be a good shirt.
Because sometimes I want to say, y'all can't do this. Don't do this. This is not right, or this, you'll regret doing that. Where I should just start praying about it.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to ever feel like you're beating your kids over the head with the Bible.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know what's right.
I agree. And I'm proud of you for saying that, because a lot of folks won't. I think sometimes we take things way to the extreme, and especially like, you know, like when you're in ministry and everything, like you want to hold your kids to such a high standard. And I think in some cases you're like, you know, and not us, you know, particularly. Let me put it this way, and I'm not bragging. I'm bragging on God if I'm bragging on anybody. But like when our daughter and our son-in-law and our grandchildren came to our church, and I'm going to get emotional thinking about it, like it was such a blessing to see these kids want to join our church. And, you know, I was hoping that they'd just find a church that had a program and would
just
take
be
time
involved
with these,
somewhere.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be our church.
Right.
Right.
And it blessed my heart to see them come in. And then when they came up front and joined, that just blessed my heart. Like, you know there's got to be 1 million preachers who have, you know, urged their children to come to their church and, you know, to see our kids, you know, like today, you know, get to have, you know, the boy and Mac and them grand youngins in church together, you know, that's a blessing. And I mean, you might get a very random, you know, opportunity. But, you know, I think that some preachers are like, no, if you're not going to my church, you're not saved, you know, and goes to previous conversations that we've had off camera. But, you know,
we were just talking about this last night with our son.
Yeah. And how churches are like, you know, if you're not going to our church, are you even saved? Like you're out of church because you're not going to our church or something. You know, which I don't want to get into the church toxicity conversation. This will be the world's longest podcast, but I think it's a blessing to have your kids in church, but then also, you know, it makes you really walk the walk even the more, because they know who you are
watching.
Yeah,
you. Yeah,
and who you are at home has to match up with that.
That's right. Yep.
So, baby, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
To my mother, Brenda, happy Mother's Day, Mama. And to Jeanette, my mom-in-law, happy Mother's Day. And to all you ladies out there who are mothers, who have stepped up, who are you might be the aunt who has, been more of a mother than them kids' parents. You might be a grandmother who's had to step up and keep them children squared away and all that. And I say to you, happy Mother's Day. To the stepmothers out there who stepped in and, when mama stepped out, happy Mother's Day to you. And all those foster parents out there who, maybe you weren't able to have children out of your own womb, but my goodness, you're no less of a mother than a woman who has given birth to them children. If you are mothering children, happy Mother's Day to you. And I think it's important that we all acknowledge that it's easy for us to write it off. And it's easy for someone who's mad at their mother or something like that to just not even acknowledge that, that y'all women are working your tails off around the clock. And I mean, I know your phone doesn't stop ringing,
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes, I'm like, who is texting you at 11 o'clock at night? And she's like, Zach made it home. I'm glad he texted me. He made it home. I'm like, okay, well.
And he lives 2.5 hours away.
Yeah.
He still texts his mama because he knows I worry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good. It's good. It wears me out at 11 o'clock at night, but I'd much rather him text you than
They worry about it.
Yeah, because then I'll know you won't be laying over there looking on your phone and trying to Life 360 him and all this other. I'd much rather and be at peace. But, so what else we got, baby? What else you got? So let me say this. Like if you had, I said what my advice would be to a young couple going into ministry, and I want you to think about what your advice would be, whatever that is, and I'll give you a minute to think about that. But if you are a young couple and you feel so drawn into ministry, and you're thinking, and specifically to the mothers, and you're thinking, how are we going to balance this? What is my part in this ministry to be able to, I guess you could say, hold things together and to, because I know that y'all women like to have your hands on everything. You like to be in control. You like to affect positive change. And, like I said, behind the pulpit this morning, you're trying to make a house a home and better the environment that you're in. And that's something that I absolutely am fascinated about women. You give a woman anything and they will do their best to like improve it, make something better out of it. And I mean, I come home all this week and something's changed, something's different. And I'm fine with that. But what would your advice be to the mother in who's launching in the ministry, behind her husband?
Ooh. That's a hard one. I mean, you don't have to pray a lot, is all I know.
And that's huge.
Yeah. It's challenging sometimes. I mean, we've not been doing it that long, but even before we started, we were in ministry because people would call us all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it can get challenging, and then you just have to pray a lot because you're carrying other people's burdens too.
Wow. That seems like such a simple thing. It doesn't seem like, it seems like, here's what's wild. What you might think is the obvious answer is sometimes the hardest thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, I love praying. I love talking to God.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. I pray a lot. Not that I'm, someone that is the pinnacle of ministry or anything like that. Lord knows I'm just as imperfect as everyone else. But I know that sometimes your chief reaction, the first thing that you do is react.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, what are you going to do to change this? How are you going to fix this? Or whatever. And the last thing on your mind sometimes is, wait a minute, I need to talk to God about this.
Right.
Let me seek God's opinion on this.
Yeah.
Let me see what God's thinking about on this. And then sometimes my wife helps me. You help me, and you're like, hey, we need to pray with them. And I'm like, yeah, that's where I should be.
It's all teamwork.
Yeah.
You've got to be a team, really. That's some advice too. You can't. It's not you by yourself.
Right.
Because I wouldn't be much of a wife.
Right.
If I didn't help you.
Right.
And you help me. No, we're just in it together.
That's right. Mm-hmm. It's a power team.
Yep.
I got a beautiful power teammate. I agree 100%. We're so as many of you know, my wife and I, we founded Mercy Church in Pacolet, South Carolina. Currently, it's in Pacolet. We're seeking land, and she will message me, "Hey, here's a property. Here's a property. Here's a property." Other people will message her or message me, and then we've got folks who are praying about donating land and all this other and like it. We want it now. We're just like you. We're no different. We want it right now. Mm-hmm. Hey, Lord, can we move into whatever land tomorrow and all of that? And
we've got the camp meeting set up already.
Yeah,
we've already got this planned out.
Right. And we're excited about it. Yeah. Y'all, ministry is something that you should have zeal in. Yes. Like you should feel excited about being in ministry together, mm-hmm. and because this is a path, and it's a chapter that, as stressful as it might get sometimes, with the right teammate on your side, and with a good team around you, which the Lord's built this team around us, and we've got some just epic, stellar people. And we prayed for a pianist. We got a just jam up pianist to come to the church, and and we prayed for a band, and the Lord's putting the band together. And we're praying for this land, and I know He's going to bring the land. He's going to bring the property, mm-hmm. and we're praying for more time to be able to put into this ministry and things like that. Like, so when I say that there's zeal and there's excitement and it's a huge thing, there'll be folks who sit there and it's almost like they're trying to talk you out about being a ministry. Like there's so much challenge, and and to your point, everyone's problems becomes your problems, right. And you got to pray about that, and you've got to seek the Lord's will for it, and all this other. But it's also super rewarding to mm-hmm. be able to pray with somebody and love on them, and and then see God come through for them.
Yeah,
because that's testimony.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago. We had a couple who they started praying for a home, and we just Monday.
They'll be moving in their home tomorrow.
Just tomorrow they'll be moving into their home, and we get to watch that mm-hmm. and get to see them. And they're like, you got to come over and pray for our house. You got to come over and pray. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And that's ministry.
Yeah.
And there are challenges.
Our challenge is the time right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard when you both work full time, and we know that we're not supposed to be public jobs. We want to be ministry. We're ministry minded. Mm-hmm. So we're praying about that.
Yeah. And I believe it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that the Lord would put so much passion in your heart to help people if it wasn't going to be what He does with you.
Yep.
Why would He put so much drive into a lion if the lion wasn't supposed to hunt?
Yeah.
And why would He put wings on a bird if they weren't supposed to fly? Like it doesn't make sense. Why would He put so much drive and passion in somebody to love on people if they weren't supposed to do it? Like I just, you couldn't bring me to believe that the Lord, he makes these flowers not want to bloom, like that's not what He does.
And that's a big part these days there's a lot of preachers, but there's not a lot of pastors
Yeah.
left. And then a lot of preachers' wives, you don't ever know. Sometimes you don't even know who they are, or barely know who they are. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't want our ministry to be that way. I
Yeah.
want us to always be seen as a team.
Yeah. Because we are.
And I want to be able to be there for people when they have deaths and when they have births and all the good things and the bad things, and
Yeah. I agree.
and visit and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, we should.
Yeah.
I'm glad I get to do it with you.
Me too.
Listen, I love you, and God loves you. This has been the Unqualified Podcast with Leon Wilson.